سلام
Umar Shariff. He is a versatile, dynamic, knowledgeable, and a proactive personality. He passed out grade 10 from Sri Aurobindo Memorial School. Pre-university, he completed from National College, Jayanagar, Bangalore. BBM from PES College, Bangalore. Then MA in Islamic Studies from Preston International College, Chennai. Then MSc Psychotherapy and Counseling from Tamil Nadu Open University. Currently, he's pursuing LLB from Al Amin Law College, Bangalore. He worked as a proprietor at Reliance Polypack. He is the president of Discover Islam Education Trust, Bangalore. He is the CEO of Al Basheer International School. And he's the director of 8 Angels, a company, a media company. And he has authored several books like Little Star series, Islamic Educational Book for Students. And he has authored another very important book, In the Name of Cow, an Indian Narrative. And currently he's producing and directing a movie called Rumi Ata. So I would like to request Mr. Umar Shariff to join us.
Yeah, I'm joined. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Alhamdulillah, I gave your brief introduction, and
Thanks a lot.
Online Dars group, we welcome Mr. Umar Shariff. Yes, Umar bhai.
Jazakallah khair. Thanks for having me, Brother Obed. Jazakallah khairan. When you had invited me, I felt very happy, more of a refreshing moment for me, because anytime I would love to talk about education, and it's of prime importance for the Indian Muslims at this point in time, wherein the Sachar committee report says that the most backward community in terms of education is the Muslim community of India. So that's actually an alarming statement, and we need to work and we need to be on war footing to bring about a positive change in our community, inshallah.
Absolutely, Umar bhai. And a short introduction of our online Dars group. So this group was started since almost 4 years. We are having this online Dars group, and every week we have 3-4 sessions where different speakers come and speak. And Alhamdulillah, even I am a speaker in this group, and a few people, from Mumbai, parents of an Islamic school, they are involved in this very good work, especially Feroz Bhai, Mr. Feroz Sheikh, he and his family. Alhamdulillah, since 4 years they are working, they are arranging the meetings, starting the meeting, ending the meeting, every advertising, everything. Alhamdulillah, they are taking effort. So much effort for Islam, Alhamdulillah. So I will just go through the introduction to the topic. And dear audience, the topic of today's discussion is Muslims and modern educational challenges. Now, education, as we know, is the most influential factor in the development of the society. The aim of education, the aim of a school is to transmit a set of beliefs, values, morals, norms, knowledge, etc. from one generation to the next generation. Now, Islamic education also plays the same role, but with an Islamic perspective. The hadith of the Prophet, Talabul ilmi farizatun ala kulli Muslim. The obtaining of ilm is obligatory upon every Muslim. It's so important for all of us. Now, we have witnessed a sort of revolution in Islamic education. 15, 20 years before, there were very few, maybe there were no Islamic schools, but now so many Islamic schools are there. So many Islamic schools have been opened, and many may be opening soon. But unfortunately, we have not met the expectations of the educators and the parents. The desired outcomes are not to be seen. Parents are disillusioned. We have not, made efforts to be at par with the convent school, with the other international schools. So the image of Islamic education, Islamic school is tarnished. And if we see in the year 2019, Muslim faith state schools took all the top three positions in UK. In UK, in 2019, top three UK schools, they were Muslim Islamic schools. They took all the top three positions. So Tawheedul Islam Girls High School, Blackburn, Eden Boys School, Birmingham, Eden Girls School, Coventry. So even we ardently wish that we repeat this success here in India. We wish to take Islamic education to new heights. We wish to improve the tarnished image of Islamic schools. Now, in this informal discussion, very basic, very pertinent questions will be asked to Mr. Umar Shariff in an effort to find a practical and a holistic solution to the problem. Now, this discussion is even for harnessing each other's energies, talent, expertise, resources, etc. Now, so many educators are there, Muslim educators are there, Islamic schools are there, but we are not in contact with each other. We don't, we don't even know each other properly. So it will be so nice to, get to know each other, cooperate with each other to find solutions to the problems of Islamic education. So here's the first question to Mr. Umar Sharif. What was your inspiration behind starting a full-fledged Islamic school, Basheer Islamic International School in Bangalore?
Okay. Personally, it was a collective effort of my family, which happens to be my dad, who happens to be Mr. Basheer, and he is the founder of the school, Basheer International School, along with the co-founders, which happens to be myself and my younger brother, Sheikh Mohammed, and other trustees who happens to be my wife and my brother's wife, that is Daulat and Sarah, respectively. We all have come together for starting the school with a common intention that we wanted our children to gain Islamic knowledge while they are pursuing their worldly academic education. So that's the real, inspiration behind starting a school. We did not really think about the size of it. We were not really thinking about the magnanimity of the institution. We were thinking about the quality of the education. So initially we started with just 2 halls, and Alhamdulillah, there was overwhelming response from the community. A lot of people were coming and thronging into our office for more admissions. So we were looking into bigger space, and that's how it expanded to become a 1.5 acre of land where we could start a school. So Alhamdulillah, Allah, by His mercy, He gave us a lot of help in terms of sending the funds and in terms of giving the right people for running the school. And one of the most foundation aspects is to have the right principal. And I keep telling that for running the school, one needs to have the right principal. And by God's grace, my brother, Sheikh Mohammed, he runs the show as a principal. Daily operations, managing the daily operations. He takes care of the whole of things. So Alhamdulillah, this is how we started the school for our own interest, for our children, and then it went to cater to the community aspect.
Yeah. That's quite an inspiration. Question number 2 coming up: how is an Islamic school different from a regular or a convent school? What is the fundamental difference?
See, I would like to say we must not make great difference in running an Islamic school, because in an Islamic school we have to be quality bound. We must be focusing in the worldly academics. So what I'm trying to say, everybody has got his own understanding of what an Islamic school. For some of them, having hijab and salah is an Islamic school. For some of them, teaching the Quran there is an Islamic school. For some of them, teaching hadith and fiqh is also Islamic school. Arabic language can be introduced, yes or no. All of these things are, it's a different explanation each one has got. But in my view, there should not be any major distinction between worldly academical school and an Islamic school.
What we want to have in an Islamic school, you can keep on adding one after another, but we must be focusing on excellence in quality, in education. That immaterially, that doesn't matter whether it is run by a Muslim or a non-Muslim or what. We are here to cater education to the community which is backward. We must say again and again that our community is being declared as a backward community in India. And we take pride in saying that we are OBCs, other backward community. I feel ashamed of myself to say that we are still considering ourselves as backward community. I don't want to take this on myself. We have to be on the forward. We must be on the forward. So there is so much of emotional mileage which we get. Once we say emotional mileage, I mean to say, once somebody says an Islamic school, people want to get all the favors. They don't want to pay the fees on time. These are the other problems. And people want to say, "Arey, ye to Islamic school hai. Aap raham nahi dikhayenge. Why aren't you showing us mercy?" All of these things, I'm trying to say, when you get into the metro, you're getting into the metro train, and you expect it to function with quality, isn't it? You want to travel at a good pace, you want to reach the place at a time, and you want to have a very memorable journey there. The same thing has to apply for an Islamic school, period. Doesn't matter. I want quality there. I want there, if you're in Maharashtra, we must teach Marathi as a local language compulsory to the extent that we make our children very much conducive to the local culture. Our children should be conversing in Marathi. Our children should be conversing in Kannada language in Bangalore. And our children should be conversing in Tamil Nadu. So we have to be assimilating the local culture. So in my very humble request, this fad of taking the name as Islamic school is many a times people are using it for granted. People are just calling it as an Islamic school just to attract a lot of people. And by nature, it cannot become an Islamic school unless and until we follow the ethics of running the school based on Islamic, ethos. And amongst the main fundamental ethos is to give quality education. If you're teaching English, give the best English training there. If you're teaching karate, give the best martial artist, training there. So you have to give everything, not just Quran. Quran is required. Even without Quran being taught in the school, Quran can be taught at home. Quran can be taught in the evening classes. I'm not saying don't teach the Quran in the Islamic schools. What I'm trying to say, by taking the name of Quran and Hadith, you cannot escape from your responsibilities. You have to ensure that you give all the best education which other schools are giving. You have to compete with the other schools. Here, what is happening in the garb of being an Islamic school, we are saying, "Arey, hum kya karenge? Hum to Islamic school chala rahe." Arey, this is a sense of escapism. So we have to be on par with every school. And I would like to say, Brother Obed, 3 points that I want to say. See, one thing is an Islamic school. What is an Islamic school? So in my understanding, everybody has got their own interpretation. In my understanding, first and foremost, an Islamic school should teach humanity. Everybody agrees. Nobody will disagree. Islamic school will teach humanity, and it will talk about humanity towards all of the people, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, race. We are going to be good to all. Yes, that is not against the Islamic ethos. Yes. Second thing is nationalism. Nationalism is not racism. Love for the country, patriotism in the positive sense is required. I would want my children to be part of the Indian bureaucracy. I want to see them working for the government of India. I want to see them working in the government institutions as judges, as police officers, and as as advocates, whatever it could be a possibility. I want our children to get into these domains, along with being corporate and commercial, businessmen and all that. All that is also required. But we have to be part of this nation's, about the building of this nation. We have to be part of the building of this nation. We have to construct the country. We have to build every brick of this country. So that is the mindset. I want the people to think on those lines. First is humanity. Second is nationalism in the positive sense, not in the negative sense, not racism, not jingoism. We're talking about love for the country, patriotism. And thirdly is Islamism. Yes, I want Islamic knowledge cannot be compromised. Be it Tawheed, oneness of Allah, we teach our children. We teach the Quran, we teach the children Hadith, we teach the children Arabic language. All these things have to be part of the Islamic education. So, three things, if the Muslim Ummah of India or elsewhere across the world, if we are going to adhere to these three things, inshallah ta'ala, we're going to become a very powerful entity in any land. In any land, we're going to become very powerful as a community. So, I want very strong participation from our community in the public domain. That is very much important. We are lacking that. We are always talking about my community, my community, my community. Arey yaar, the whole humanity is ours. The whole human race is ours. The world is waiting for our contribution. And if we are going to contribute, the world is going to change for sure, inshallah ta'ala. So Islamic school, the vision has to be that we are going to serve humanity. I'm going to work for my nation, and I'm going to follow the Islamic values and ethos. So these three things, I think many times we are not talking on the first two things. We are talking mainly on the Quran, Hadith. Alhamdulillah, we have to learn the Quran and Hadith, no doubt about it. But what is important is that how does it impact the world? The Quran and Hadith has to impact the world. So therefore, I bring humanity and then nationalism in the present day's context, very much important.
Golden word from Umar Bhai, and I request educators to take note of these very important points. And inshallah, I'm going to get this interview typed, inshallah, so to make a very good content for the Muslim educators. So this was in short the passion and mission of an Islamic school. Now another question related to the previous question. It may sound very nice, very basic, but I have to ask this question, okay? So many Islamic schools I have seen, I have observed, okay? Many Islamic schools, if not all, do not function in a professional way. No proper infrastructure, unqualified staff, inadequate resources, no libraries, no laboratories, no play area, all justified in the name of at least we are providing Islamic education. Is this correct, Umar Bhai? Can we compromise?
When you and I are on the same page, we cannot compromise on quality education. And therefore, I encourage every one of the educationists to be affiliated to the local syllabus or the local board. Like, for instance, we have the state board. For instance, the Karnataka State Education Board is there. We have SSLC. If not, you have to be affiliated to the central board, that is CBSE. And that is very much important. If you are not having wealth, if you do not have the ability, then the third option would be starting a center with the NIOS affiliation or accreditation. NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. That's the third. That is the third best option, because all these three are recognized by the government of India. They're under the Ministry of Government departments. So there is no discrepancy on that. There is no problem with that. But if you're trying to get an international syllabus, then you have to walk through a long distance. You have a lot of challenges. And if you're ready for that, you can still go for it. I'm not against it. But I would, first and foremost, I would want our educators to either get affiliated with the local board or the central board. By default, if you're getting affiliated, they will ensure that you bring quality in the system, because they will dictate terms. What should be the size of your classroom? How many toilets should be there? What is the proportion of the teachers, the ratio of the teachers and the students? Every norm is being clearly identified, and they will stipulate that in such a way that you will be bound to achieve all of their, the regulations. So therefore, people should not take a very easy path saying that, no, हमारे लिए आजादी चाहिए, हमारे लिए freedom चाहिए, हम कोई भी education के board के अंदर नहीं आना चाह रहे हैं, because even we used to have that kind of mindset. I used to have that kind of mindset. Earlier I used to have, but later on I was pushed to think otherwise. I was pushed to think what I'm thinking today, because the problem is that the more we want freedom and we want to stay aloof, and we are going to be staying away from the mainstream people, the mainstream masses of this country. And therefore, we are getting excluded, and we are getting secluded, and we are getting unwantedly discriminated also. So we have to be in the main domain, being with everybody, be it, Ambani or Tata Birla, whoever is running an institution, we have to be part of that system. I'm not saying that you have to be connecting with only the rich and the famous. You have to be even with the government schools. We have to be on par with the government institutions. So we must not always try to be, I am different. We Muslims, we are different. No. We are the same as the rest of the people, but we have certain things which we follow very strongly when it comes to our religion. Other than that, we are on par with everybody. That should be the mindset, I feel.
Very true, Umar bhai. Very wise words, alhamdulillah. So all educators, please take note of these very important points. Now, the next question is about weekend schools. The weekend schools are very common in UK and US. Very common. Yeah. Now, with massive requirements of registration work, school building, premises, etc., can Islamic weekend schools be a good option for Muslim educators if they can't open a full-fledged Islamic school? At least in every town, every city, Islamic weekend school where, students come for 2 or 3 hours a week and study Islam. Can it be a good option?
Yeah, it is a possibility. I wouldn't discount the idea. It is a good alternative for those who do not have an Islamic school. Then for them, at least a weekend educational center would help to some extent. But I would like to give another option, which I've seen it in Kerala. In Kerala, you come across a lot of maktabs, and they're doing a wonderful job. I've seen many in Kerala. Earlier, before starting the school, we had visited some of the places in Kerala. They have maktabs, and these maktabs have syllabus. They have nizam. They have very clear syllabus as to what they have to teach, who has to teach, what they have to cover. So evening classes, they have these maktabs wherein they are able to give 2 to 3 hours of very solid, concrete Islamic education through which they're able to prepare, Hafizul Quran. They're preparing Huffaz out of these 3 hours of education. What is happening in some of the places in Bangalore and elsewhere is that they are having the evening classes in the masjids. In the masjids, they will have evening classes, but the syllabus is very restricted. The syllabus do not go beyond the Nurani Qaida and some dua. But in Kerala, they have Hafizul Quran program, and they also have Arabic language program, and they also teach very important, pertinent aspects of the deen. So it all depends upon what we decide as a syllabus. That makes a very important impact. And alongside, it also depends upon who the teachers are. So are they qualified? Say, for instance, in our school, alhamdulillah, we have almost 20 plus ulama who are huffaz and who are also alimedin. They're also scholars from reputed colleges and jamia. They have they have completed their Islamic graduation, and then they are serving. Alongside, we have about 40 teachers who are teaching academics of other disciplines. So we have a very big team which is working for even Islamic education. It's not just saying that Islamic knowledge, we're just catering. No, we are having very clear, distinct approach of evaluating the children, their progress, and maintaining the diary as to what they've been taught, their daily syllabus, daily sabak, then previous sabak, and the next sabak. Everything has been monitored, and even after they finish the Quran memorization, they are given practice, and they have to pass the examination for getting the certificate. So it has to be planned, even if it is a weekend. If it is planned well, inshallah, you can bring about great impact So syllabus is very important. What you're going to teach. And today you can have a hybrid system. You don't have to be personally there. You can have videos which have been sent in the evenings, and people can watch through the YouTube. And once in a week, you can take some exams. You can have some sort of assessment. You can have formative assessment. So that is all possible. In today's world, you cannot run away from education. Education is running towards us. We cannot run away from that. So I think even if somebody is planning for a weekend class, I say Mubarak ho, wish you all the best. Whatever you are able to do it, inshallah.
Okay, so a good point here about Maktab. And the thing is, we have to plan everything, some solid, tangible syllabus, not just like for namesake, weekend school or some small classes, evening class. No, if you want to start a weekend school, a Maktab, it should be solid, tangible, and it should be result oriented. Okay, there was one point mentioned in your answer, this answer just you gave, and that brings us to the next question now. Now, teachers are an integral part of teaching, learning process. Now, Islamic school teachers have a greater responsibility. They have a special role. They have a greater challenge. Now, unfortunately, the selection of teachers in Islamic school, because the schools which I have observed, most of the schools, if not, many schools, alhamdulillah, they are very good. But again, many schools, they don't select the teachers in a proper way. They just appoint budget teachers. They don't realize the significance of Islamic school teacher. So, what is the significance, the importance of an Islamic school teacher?
First and foremost, the first and foremost thing for an Islamic school teacher is that he or she should be qualified enough. He or she, irrespective of whether he or she is a Muslim or a non-Muslim, to work in an Islamic school. If a person is going to come and teach mathematics, I don't have any problem with that person's faith. He can be a Christian or he can be an atheist also, but he's going to come and teach mathematics, and his job is just to teach mathematics, nothing else. And I don't want people to integrate Islamic education into mathematics, because there is no clear conditions, there is no foolproof as to what should be included and what should not be included. If everybody is left to his own whims and he wants to integrate mathematics with Islamic knowledge, then he can go beyond bounds. So we don't want anything of that kind. We want Islamic teacher to teach Islamic subjects, and we want mathematics teacher to teach only maths. So first and foremost is qualified, then good manners, should have the ethics of working in an institution. These are the only thing that we focus on. We're not looking at into anything else. And whatever is the market value which has been there in the market today for a teacher's salary, then we have to ensure that we pay them and keep them satisfied. It is a very corporate level of work that we expect. We don't want volunteering there. We don't want free service there. We want somebody to be answerable, to ensure that they give the deliverables. The deliverables are given on time. It's a clear consumer service. We have to call it as a consumer, customer care service, because we are all bound by law. We are all bound by law, and we will all come under Consumer Protection Act. Whether you like it or you don't like it, we all come under Consumer Protection Act. If you are doing anything wrong in the process of the service to the community or the children, then we are answerable before the law. So we look into the qualification, the quality of the person, period, nothing else. Then the person has to be ensuring that they are fulfilling the norms of the institution, whatever the institution is giving as a pragmatic way of running the institution. We give it as a policy, then they are supposed to adhere. So we look into the ethical values of the person. That's very important. And we don't want to say that a person, the name is a Muslim, or that person is coming from this family and all that. Nothing really works. Even my recommendation does not work in our school.
Okay.
My recommendation does not work in our school. Our school works on policies. Our school works on merit. Our school sticks to the book, paper, pen, nothing beyond that.
Absolutely, absolutely. MashaAllah. Very good, very crucial points here mentioned by Mr. Umar Sharif. One point is the market value, have to pay, the salaries should be at par with other schools so that our teachers are kept motivated, interested, and excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the next question coming here is, I want just a brief answer for this question. Now, teacher training, teacher upgrading is a neglected aspect in Islam. So what I am asking question is what I have observed, okay? And when
Yeah.
Umar Bhai is telling some points, it is bringing smiles to my, face, अंदर से कुछ मुझे हंसी पॉइंट्स याद आ जाते हैं कि हाँ ये सब उमर भाई जो बोल रहे हैं बराबर पॉइंट सब मैच हो रहा है तो ये
Thank you.
as they say, the teacher is a school. If you prepare her properly, you will prepare
Yeah.
an entire people of good character. Now,
Right.
Islamic schools, they neglect training of their teachers. How crucial is it to have regular teacher training program, especially in an Islamic school? And what about Basheer International School? Do they have regular training programs in their school?
Yes, of course, Brother Obed. See, as I said, Islamic school was a fad, was taken as a vogue, as a trend. In the name of training, a lot of things were done. A lot of things were, extra done. Because the more you do, the more you show, the more it becomes too lucrative. It becomes a business trend also. It became like exorbitant. People really did not understand if some school, the best school in Karnataka, is giving the monthly or yearly fees package. An Islamic school goes beyond that and says, no, we are going to charge 5 times more or 10 times more, and saying that we have something out of the world package. So these are all dramabazi, which a lot of people have done. I don't want to take their names or anything like that. I'm telling you, when a non-Muslim school can give better education in a lesser package, why is that an Islamic school comes out with big words and names and all, all that names and all will come there. And in the list of fairies, you'll big names and all that. And training sessions would be something which is not academically proven. And finally, the fee structure is such that it's too high. So these are all business trends, I would say. Instead, the best way is to go by the affiliation and go by the board. There is this standard which NCERT wants to achieve. Books are there, and there's a best training system, one of the best training system for the world, I would say. NCERT books are one of the best books, and CBSE is one of the best boards in the world. And our children, mashallah ta'ala, Sundar Pichai is there working for Google, and you will find Satyam, he's taking care of, what's he taking care of it? He's taking care of, Satyam is taking care of. So all of our children, they are actually, leading the companies, the corporate companies across the world. And our upbringing, the roots are very strong. Indian education. Now, let me go a little further. India is known for, its advanced knowledge, traditional knowledge since a long time. You talk about mathematics, you talk about the number system, you talk about decimal, you talk about zero. They were all discovered by India. And therefore, you have Hindu-Arabic numerals. Hindu-Arabic numerals, because the Arabs, they made it famous to the world. Arabs were ready to accommodate all the knowledge from the East and the West. Therefore, we had, during the times of Al-Mamun, we had Baitul Hikmah, the house of wisdom in Abbasi Khilafah, soon after Harun Rashid's time. So what we can understand is that we should be open to knowledge, and Indian research system is very strong. We need to believe that. We carry that that identity as being an Indian, inshallah ta'ala, and we carry the identity of being a Muslim also, inshallah ta'ala. So be rest assured that the board that you're going to follow, be true to the board. They will give you the exact qualification of the teachers which is required. They will also give you the real, the training system which they have to go through. They have regular conferences. They have all the system which will bind our teachers and get into the whole process of getting trained. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's not waste our time on reinventing the wheel. The Abbasi Khilafah did not want to reinvent everything. They just asked the Sanskrit scholars and the Greek scholars, and they asked them to share the books. They translated it into Arabic language, and they shared the entire books to the East and West. So that's what they did. Why are we breaking our heads today? We don't have to do anything. It's all ready-made for us. So I would say the first and foremost thing to bring in quality education, quality training is to register with the local board. And there should not be escapism saying that, no, we are an international board. We don't have anybody to monitor us. We will prepare the children. We'll get them admitted to another school. And through that, we will write the exams. All these shortcuts will not help. Shortcuts se bachna chahiye. Let's get into directly, being true to the educational system of our country. That's very important. I'm telling you again. It's very important because what we try to do is that we were wasting a lot of time unwantedly.
True. It's absolutely true, Umar bhai. So very practical and a holistic solution for the problem. Very easy. Just get affiliated to your local board, cooperate with them, interact with them, and incorporate their instructions. It's so easy. So this was a very important point again. Now, there is another very important point here about Serbia. Now, when the parents, Muslim parents, admit their children to an Islamic school, they expect that their children become good practicing Muslims, and even if you think further, they become Hafiz or Alim, whatever. But the desired results are not to be seen. Unfortunately, what I have observed, many students, if not all, they are not. We don't see the desired results in them. They don't practice Islam as such. They go astray. The dynamic personalities, the productive students, which are benefit for the Ummah, the good practicing Muslims, they are not, the desired results we are not getting that desired result from an Islamic school. Many students, they are just like ordinary, common students. So how crucial is it to incorporate Serbia syllabus, Serbia training in Islamic?
Yeah, Serbia is very much important. And for that, we need to have the right faculty working in the institution. And that starts with the principal, I have to say again and again. Principal is the hub. Principal makes the school. Trustees, CEOs, all of them is secondary. Who makes the school is the principal. Any school for that matter. You talk about Ebenezer, you talk about Basheer, or you talk about Oasis International, or any school for that matter. It all depends upon the principal's commitment and how the principal works with the force, the teaching force. It makes a big shift, actually. That is the real thing. How he is able to instill about the values to the teachers and the ulama, and how he is able to correct the children. In our school, by God's grace, alhamdulillah, the principal attends to the teachers on a personal level, and the principal also sits with the students on a personal level. Whenever they are having some distractions, they are getting diverted from their focus. And that is quite possible. And therefore, all the prophets were shepherds. All the prophets were shepherds. Yes. Because when you're being a shepherd, you're taking the sheep. You'll find one going the other side, the other going the other side. And the shepherd has to have a lot of patience and ensure that he collects all of them together and takes them to the right direction. And that in itself is the work of the shepherd. And therefore, a principal has to be a good shepherd. Every principal has to be a good shepherd, because all the prophets were good shepherds. And do not expect perfection in people. Do not expect dramatic change in the students from Islamic school. We must expect to ensure that the proper academics are completed. They are able to achieve the marks and ranks. That is primarily. Secondly, we are instilling good values by practicing. We have to practice first and foremost. At time we have to pray. We must not tell lies. We must not get into any haram things. So all of these things, as much as we are going to inculcate, automatically we are going to see the children also, imbibe it, and they are going to emulate the same thing. So that in itself is a big challenge. Why the children are not performing well? Because what they're seeing is also imperfect. What they are experiencing with is also imperfect. Imperfect teachers, imperfect ulama, imperfect people, imperfect human beings. We are dealing with the imperfect children. So children are also taking, and of course, the parents, they are also contributing to the upbringing of the children. It is not just the school and the children who are going to be with their neighborhood. They're being with the neighborhood with all kinds of people. So the school contributes about 20 to 25% of impact on the child. The other 70 to 80% of impact is created from the outside world. It can be television, it can be friends, it can be neighborhood, it can be parents, it can be relatives, and so many factors are involved. So therefore, we will be playing our part, and collectively we have to work for the benefit of the community. And let's not keep big expectations. Let's do something which we are supposed to do in the best quality, and that is what we are going to be asked for. That is what my focus is primarily on.
Yes. Actually, the problem is when the parents admit their children to Islamic schools, they expect ना अभी चलो एक बार स्कूल में डाल दिया, अभी हमारा बच्चा बहुत ही जबरदस्त एक उम्मा का लीडर बन के बाहर निकलेगा. And they don't cooperate with the Serbia. They give the mobile phone is there in their hand, and they have the satellite channels. They are watching all kind of channels at home. The Serbia they are giving is not correct, and the parents are expecting. एक बार इस्लामिक स्कूल में डाल दिया तो चलो हमको एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन एक मुस्लिम
इसमें अवैध भाई यहाँ पर बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट चीज क्या है. वी आर लिविंग इन द 21st century, and in this 21st century we are living in the urban world. We're not living in rural world where we are disconnected from the science and technology and the advancements of the urban life. And in this kind of a situation, how are we going to give them alternatives? The very big question. If we are telling the children, don't do this, don't do that, then what to do? What else to do? Of course, entertainment is very much important. We have to keep our children busy with sports. We have to give them some art and culture. We have to give them some sportsmanship. These are the things which will keep them busy. And it is so unfortunate we don't have much of halal entertainment for the children. We don't open the avenues for that. We don't have many contests and conferences on those issues. So what happens when we don't give them alternative? They get into the only thing which is available. So that is the problem. Why is that our children are looking for Marvel series, and why they are getting into Harry Potter series? Why aren't they being given something else in alternative? Because we are not producing that thing. No, that is where the whole problem lies. So we have to think on these lines, because we are not dealing with angels. We are not dealing with people who are living in medieval times or people who are living in ancient times. This is the world in 21st century, which we cannot show a blind eye to it. We have to get them exposed to the real world, but make them so diligent to use what is halal. We must help them in making the right choices. That is where the whole game lies. So that, I think the children, we are not yet enough qualified to deal with the children of the today's generation. Because the today's generation children are outsmarting the elders, and they ask certain questions for which the elders do not have words to speak. So we have to become double smart. We can't be in 1990s. If they are in, if we are going to deal with 2K kids, then we have to be 2K plus. So how are we going to become 2K plus is a very big challenge now.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, very important points here mentioned by Umar Bhai. Now, this question is, from, from my heart, as an Islamic studies teacher. I have been an Islamic studies teacher since around 13, 14 years, Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Now,
Barakallah feek, brother Obed.
Islamic studies subject is ignored in Islamic school, ironically.
Wow.
Although it is the USP of Islamic school. I call Islamic studies subject as a unique selling point, the USP of Islamic school. But many Islamic schools treat it as the least important subject. Although on the brochure, on the pamphlet of Islamic school, Islamic studies subject is mentioned at the top and everything is there. But the teacher who is teaching Islamic studies is not up to the mark. The textbooks are not, so good, and the management even they're ignoring. They're not treating Islam. They're not giving importance to the Islamic studies subject as it deserves. Your comments on it. And what is our Islamic studies subject in Basheer International?
Yeah. I would share. Alhamdulillah, we teach the Quran to all the children, and mashallah, a lot of children have become Huffaz al-Quran. I think around 50 plus children should have, or near about 50 children they must have. I don't have the exact numbers, alhamdulillah. And even if they haven't become the total complete Huffaz, they would have at least touched about 20 paras or 10 paras or 5 paras. A lot of children, they're just memorizing on a daily basis. Then apart from that, we have Arabic language as one of the subjects. And we have basics of conversational Arabic, and we also have some grammar which is touched upon. So Arabic language is one of the subjects. Then we have Islamic studies, which deals with the aspects of fiqh, which also deals with hadith, which deals with daily salah and all the rituals which the Muslims should know. So all of these things come. And by the time they finish their 10th, we also finish the seal nectar, Rahiq al-Maktoum. And we ensure that by 10th, the children are taught the entire seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the things which we cover, alhamdulillah.
So which is the textbook of Islamic studies? Which is the Islamic studies textbook you mentioned that you teach to the
Islamic studies, Maulvi Aziz.
Acha, Maulvi Abdul Aziz.
Abdul Aziz, yeah. Earlier, my books were also being taught. The Little Stars were taught, but I wasn't able to continue and make it into a complete series. I came up to three books, and then I thought, okay, it requires a lot of time and all that. So we took Maulvi Abdul Aziz book for Islamic studies, and we have for Arabic language we have books from Kerala. The Kerala books are being used, and we have tried a lot of trial and error. We have done earlier, but now we are sticking to certain things, and we're adding few conversational Arabic classes also. Conversational Arabic classes have been, because even if they're good in understanding the grammar, even if they're good in understanding the Arabic language, in conversation they may be weak. So we are introducing the conversational Arabic as well. So it keeps going on upgrading, but we have the limitations of adding too many Islamic disciplines, because we have to also ensure that the child is not pressurized. And at the same time, we give them a lot of entertainment in the sense, a lot of sports activity, a lot of fun activity. If you come to our school right from the beginning year till the end of the year, you don't realize that the year has passed, because the school goes so lively. Almost every second week, you have some or the other activity, and we have evaluation of their success in terms of giving grades to the houses. There are a couple of houses, and giving them prizes at the end of the year. Then public speaking classes is also taken very seriously. We have public speaking classes on a weekly basis. The children have classes, and they keep grading themselves until they come on the final showdown, on the stage, when they have So all of these things are very tedious work, which goes by with a very collective effort, which the faculty is putting. As far as Umar Sharif is concerned, Umar Sharif is the least working person for the school. Is the reality, because we have done our part, but the rest of things, the people who are working day in and day out, they are the ones who are really contributing. Be it the principal or be it the other academic coordinator and the management coordinator, the admins, the teachers, the ulama, they are the people who are shaping the world. I mean, shaping the schools actually. Alhamdulillah.
So this is how versatile Islamic subjects should be. Very versatile,
Yeah.
very comprehensive, very dynamic, result oriented, mashallah. So again, I am repeating, all educators take note of these very important points. Now, the next question is related to the first question about Islamic studies. Another concern, major concern about Islamic studies is the lack of interest in this subject. The pupil, the student arrives in the class knowing that the Islamic studies subject is not one of the core subjects, not important.
Yeah.
Even parents, I have observed, even parents, they put their child in Islamic school, they get them admitted, but after grade 5, grade 6, now they are Islamic studies ko chhod do, abhi math, science ko abhi dhyan do. Even parents start ignoring Islamic studies. Dr. Nadeem Maiman and his famous Islamic educationist, he says the leadership of the school has to champion the importance of Islamic studies subject. What are your observations?
Yeah, to a large extent, because there is no evaluation, and of course there will be an internal evaluation, but that will not be carried forwarded to the government exams. So therefore, children do not have the real zeal to score marks there. Of course, there can be some influence of the teachers and influence of the parents. Based on that, some children may outperform the rest of them. But generally, what you're saying is the mindset, and children are going to be children. What I'm trying to say, first and foremost, as I told you in the initial of talk of mine, I said we must not have more expectations. If these children, if they are going to learn the values, even if they are not scoring big marks, if they're going to learn the values, they have heard to the stories of the prophets, they have understood it, but they're not able to say it. Alhamdulillah, we have achieved our target. That is the first thing. Secondly, if somebody wants to pursue in future as a scholar, as an Islamic scholar, inshallah ta'ala, then he can go to Malaysia, or he can go to Sharjah, or he can go to Medina University or Makkah, Qura University, and he can become a scholar of Islam. So that is possible at the level of Jamia, inshallah ta'ala. Here in Islamic schools, we must have, very modest ambition. We must have a modest ambition. We cannot teach fiqh, and we cannot teach the entire qawaid fiqhiyah and all that stuff, because they are children at that age. At that age of taklif, they haven't even reached the age of puberty, and many of them, I'm telling you, the Islamic law considers as someone accountable from the age of puberty, which is roughly considered as 15 years in the books of fiqh. They're mentioned as 15 years, the age of taklif. So we cannot teach them a lot of issues which is pertaining to inheritance, and we cannot talk to them about menses and the laws governing all that, and how family relationship. All of these things will not come here, and all of these things will go into the studies of Jamia when they really want to pursue serious scholarly education. And for people like me, alhamdulillah, who had an opportunity to do MA in Islamic studies, I just pushed myself to do MA in Islamic studies at this. Just about 3-4 years, I finished it up in Preston International College. And these kind of avenues and opportunities are there. So people can pursue BA in Islamic studies or MA in Islamic studies. All of these opportunities are there. Or if they can go abroad, or they can go to Murabad and or Banaras. There are many other, Malagaon. But again, the problem lies. Let me just take 2 more minutes. Our children from Islamic schools, they are pampered, and they are treated like customers and consumers, and they are treated very well. And when they go into certain madaris where there are no fans, where there is no cot, there is no good ambience, there is no good fresh drinking water, and these children are running away from those institutions. In schools, we have instilled them with a lot of encouragement to pursue Islamic scholarship. And when they go into certain institutions, bhago, run away. And I have cases, I have cases right in front of me. You understand? So certain schools also, they're doing a big blunder, big blunder. I don't want to take up their names. In the name of preparing them for exams, they are torturing the children. There is, child abuse, mental torture, wherein children are burdened beyond their level to ensure that they are mugging up the answers for the examinations. And that has also led to a lot of side effects. In Andhra Pradesh, during the examination times, 2 3 years ago, or even beyond before that, 50 children they committed suicide in that period. 50 children, just in one about 2 months, 3 months time, because of treating them like machine and making them memorize and mug. No, these are all child abuse. We must not get into these kind of things. Let the children enjoy their life in the school life. Let them enjoy. Let them have memorable life. Let them love their principal. Let them love their teachers. Let them love their ulama, and the ulama should love them. That kind of ambience filled with a lot of positivity, a lot of good energy should be there to transfer beyond the schools.
MashaAllah, golden word from Umar bhai here. Inshallah, Alhamdulillah.
Barakallah feek.
So nice, so nice to have you here. I'm going to ask a few more questions. I hope I'm not taking up much time.
I'm free today, inshallah.
So the next question is the important question is about Islamic history. The Islamic history as a subject. There are no textbooks for teaching Islamic history, especially Islamic history. Islamic heroes about Muhammad bin Qasim, Muhammad al-Fatih, Tariq bin Ziyad, Salahuddin Ayyubi, the Muslim scientists, the Abbasid Empire, the Umayyad Empire. People, our students know about the sports stars, the film stars, their hairstyle, how many children they have, where do they live, everything, but they can't name 3 Muslim heroes. And I feel that there are no, till now, I have not seen Islamic history textbooks. And I feel, it's my ardent desire to we all should make an effort to prepare a series, grade-wise Islamic history textbook. How important, for example, the Marcus Garvey, he said, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Another Spanish philosopher, George Santayana, he said, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So, again, what are your comments on this? Islamic history as a proper subject.
History is a very crucial and very critical. I would say history is understood based on perspectives. History is understood with an element of bias also, because generally, the history, and when it comes to Indian history, it gets very complicated. And under this political climate that we are living in, it is too hard to bear it in a school. So I wouldn't say we must be sidelining history. I wouldn't say that. But it is a challenge in itself. It is a challenge in itself. And therefore, we chose a path where we limited to the seerah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the stories of the prophets. So that history is safer when told and when taught. When we are talking about Sahaba, you can have you can have Sahabas, and because all these things are connected to faith, and it has got no political ambitions. When we talk about Salahuddin Ayyubi rahimahullah, it's a great personality and wonderful personality. But what happens is that what we are teaching and how we are teaching and how the child understands, it all depends upon what really happens in the classroom. So unless and until we have a very clear methodology of containing it to the level that it has to be contained, we must not embark into this in the classroom. Of course, we must have it in the university level. You must have it in MA or BA education, scholarship education, or you can have it in workshops, critical study. Now, for example, now why am I talking about this? If you talk about Tipu Sultan and Aurangzeb, highly debatable personalities, whom we respect. At the end of the day, whom I respect, I love them for the sake of Allah. Okay. But highly debatable. Some of their actions are highly debatable. Some of the actions are also going a little away from the mannerisms of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in certain instances. So there it becomes very challenging to include all of these things and to teach them and how they are understanding and what is the outcome of it. So therefore, I would say, um, as I want to say something out of my own belief, even in the school, we limit the education only to academics. We don't have any other extra activity when it comes to imparting knowledge. We don't have anything to do with even dawa. We totally stop the activity of dawa in the schools. There is no scope for dawa activity in the schools, and there should not be any dawa activity in the school which is affiliated to CBSC or SSLC. Why I'm telling you? Because rule is a rule for everybody. It's a secular system. Secular in an Indian perspective is different from secular in the French perspective. In the French, if they are saying the word secular, it means nothing to do with God. It means keeping the state and religion separate. It is to say that keep religion away from the state governance. But when it comes to the Indian interpretation of the word secular, it means sarva dharma samabhava, which means we give respect to all religions. So when they're saying that when we do not work towards dawa, we also expect the same thing in the Christian convents. We also expect the same thing in the Hindu run institutions. So let's keep the religious discourses in the sense of, proselytizing. Proselytization should not be there in the school. And because of proselytization, Kerala's, some of the schools were under radar, and some of the schools came to the brink of getting closed, and they went through a lot of challenges. So we must keep these things. And history is very important. I love history, no doubt about it. History is important, but we must limit it to only the academical books and not introduce anything in the context of today's political climate.
Okay. Will age appropriate history book textbook, age appropriate with wisdom, history textbook, can we go ahead with that?
Yeah.
Age appropriate and according to the political climate, whatever you were saying.
Yeah.
Textbook and proper textbook, age appropriate and with wisdom, and whatever has to be left is left. And can we go ahead with those maybe small booklets?
We can have wonderful books even on Salahuddin Ayyubi or Tipu Sultan and all of these people. We can have it in the libraries, and we can allow the children to read, all the books which are, William Dalrymple's book on the Mughals. All these books are available. We can keep all of these books. These are all going to be encouraged. Any book for or against whichever bias anybody has got towards any personality, all kinds of books can be kept in the library and allowing people to read themselves. That is fine. That is encouraged. But what happens is that when we are going to teach anything, even with good faith, people might misconstrue it by saying it is an indoctrination program which is happening there. So we don't want to, take up any chances, any lame, accusation on us for any reason. We don't want any kind of accusation because something great is happening, something good is happening. Why to compromise something great for something? That is where the whole thing lies. Yes.
Absolutely true, Umar bhai. So again, very crucial points here. Now, the next question is how to remove the negativity about Islamic education from among the non-Muslims. Non-Muslims have some apprehensions. They don't know much about Islamic schools or Islamic education, but due to the media, etc., they have certain apprehensions, certain misunderstandings. So how can we educators, schools make an effort to remove that negativity about Islamic education?
So very pertinent question, Brother Obed. This is something which I would say all academicians should pay heed to. We must keep ourselves away from political affiliations. That's a fundamental thing. Be it party X or party Y. For us, all parties are same. We want to see reformation in every party. Whom I vote during elections is my personal choice. So if you're going to keep this kind of a face in public forums, you will attract all people in your schools. You will have the Christian priest coming in. You will have an atheist coming in. You will have the Hindu priest coming in. You will have the ulama from all factions coming in and have, get-togethers during occasions such as, Independence Day or Republic Day. Let them all come and give their choiceful choiceful wisdom being shared amongst the children. So all of these things must be encouraged. We must keep ourselves away from the political affiliations, but that doesn't mean I will not be criticizing a wrong decision done by any political party. So we have to be showing ourselves as we are supposed to be a very fair and just community, not taking any sides. We are not going to take sides on. So this will help us in driving away a lot of misconception, primarily by keeping ourselves, away from the active politics in terms of showing affiliation. But you can be a political man. Doesn't mean that you can't be talking about politics. You can be talking about politics, but don't show up as the flag bearer of this party or that party. That's one thing. Second thing is that give respect to the local culture. Kannada. For me, primarily, I speak Tamil as a mother tongue at home. But here in Karnataka, I work more for Kannada. And I call myself as a Kannadiga. I want to be part of this Karnataka state. That is my identity. And I ensure that I give lectures in Kannada language. You understand? And I've seen you. I like you for that, being that sportive in Marathi. And you are one of those rare Muslim speakers that I've come across speaking Marathi language. I love you for that. So that local culture assimilation is very important. When you speak in their mother tongue, when you speak to them in that language and you respect their values, see, Ram or Krishna, we are not allowed to use any bad words for any of the gods whom the non-Muslims worship. That includes Jesus Christ, that includes Moses, because they respect them and they respect even their deities. We're not supposed to abuse them. We're not supposed. That is our religion. Yes. And at the same time, we can take their names if they have done something good, then we can appreciate them for that. But we can be very determined saying that we don't worship any of them except Allah. This is our faith. And when we are going to be fair community saying this, the non-Muslims have got no problem with that. The non-Muslims have got no problem with that. When we are going to be open, be true, and be true to whatever we are saying, they accept it. Let us be very clear, very fair. What happened in Makkah and Medina was that when Rasulullah was talking to the non-Muslims were intelligent to understand what this man is speaking is true. Why did Islam become the fastest growing religion? Because the non-Muslims were brilliant people to choose Islam. Isn't it? It's not Islam that made the big difference. It is the people who adhered to the religion who made the big difference. So even today, I believe that the non-Muslims are very smart. They can understand as much as we can understand. They also know, they love. A lot of non-Muslims are very positive about Islam. They have no problem with Islam, but they have problem with Muslims. These are two different issues that we have to deal with. Even if a person wants to become a Muslim, he is not being accommodated in a way that he feels that his part of his culture is still being preserved. So this is another issue that we need to discuss on a different platform, on a social issue that we have to deal with. But what I'm trying to say, the non-Muslims are very, even I'm dealing with people who are from the extreme right and the left. I deal with them. And I treat, and by God's grace, Alhamdulillah, all of them, they respect. It's not, they may disagree with me. They may disagree with me. They may say like this guy, he's foolish or whatever they may say. But at the end of the day, they respect that this guy speaks from his heart. He speaks the fact, whatever he believes in. So they respect me for, so this is where we have to stand as leaders. I would say the academicians, the CEOs, the principals, they have to show this up. They have to display this nature. We need not keep it in lock and key. We need not keep it closed. We need to display that, yes, we are your well-wisher. We only wish good for you. This has to be shown. Let us be lavish enough to show this, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah, inshallah. So, Umar bhai, in the near future, within a few years maybe, if most of the things are implemented, can we look forward? Can we expect non-Muslim students taking admission in Islam? Are you
Yes,
hopeful about that?
yes, that should be our aim as well. We must give good quality education, like how there are some very good schools, convents, which are run by Christian missionaries, some very good schools run by Hindu priests in Karnataka, where Muslims go and seek knowledge there. Same kind of ambience should be brought even in Muslim institutions. We have to give quality education while being very clear, we are not proselytizing anybody there. This is a very important thing, that this is not a place for conversion. And these kind of problems can take us out of the board, like what happened in Kerala. And even some of the Christian missionaries, I'm sorry, not all of them, they also mix up academics and conversion. That is a major problem. So we need to be very clear. We are here to give customer service. We're giving them good culture, good values. Alhamdulillah, Islam teaches us to practice our religion, and we also give them their freedom. We must be able to give them their freedom of what they believe in. We cannot come in the way. So if we are able to do that, inshallah ta'ala, which is Islamically correct, Islam does not, forcefully make others do things which the Muslims do. No, they are left to their own. And if you're able to give that freedom to them, then inshallah ta'ala, the non-Muslims will come and quality will improve, standards will improve, and we will be able to cater to the mainstream's needs. That's very much important. And therefore, I would say Islamic school need not be running in a typical fashion everywhere. You can also have a secular school with moral Islamic education. You
So
can have a secular school.
are you saying that we should not call our school Islamic school on the
No,
whole?
you can call yourself as an Islamic school. You can call yourself as a faith school. You have the freedom. All that is there. We call ourselves as an international school and madrasa. We have two things we call. But what I'm trying to say, I'm living in a different place. I'm living in Karnataka. It's much safer, much nice, where there is no much of communal problems. And for me, it is easy. But for somebody who is living in, say, UP or Bihar, where there's so much of skirmishes with the local people and all that stuff. So for them, I think don't try to do anything over ambitiously. Have it as a secular school. You can have moral education. In that moral education class, you can teach your subjects. So that is something as an alternative. So everything need not be, done in a very typical prototype model. You have to leave way for customization. You have to leave way for creativity. What is applicable here may not be applicable elsewhere. What is applicable in Kerala may not be applicable in Tamil Nadu. So that way, we must be more pragmatic about whom we are dealing with. What is the local scenario? Then how are we going to cater to the needs? And while saying that, as I said in the initial opening of my talk, humanity, nationalism, and Islamism. You carry these three things, and you just mentioned this thing. You are actually on the mainstream. You are on the highway, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. So, one very important point I would like to repeat here: customization is the key. Customizing your education, your school is the key to success. One last question now. Although there are many questions, but I will take a last question, and then inshallah we'll have one or two questions from the audience. Okay. So the last question is, what is your advice to Muslim educators or would-be Muslim educators who are running Islamic schools or who wish to open Islamic schools? What is your, fundamental, primary, brief advice?
Yeah, brief advice would be that all those who want to start schools should be students. You have to be students. You have to continue studying until the grave. So, therefore, you should enjoy student life. Why am I saying? You can see me now reading books. I've done a lot of studies now, recent times, and qualified education, which I'm doing and which I pursue. And I think it will go on for a long time from here on. I think a lot of people are also wondering what happened to this guy. All of a sudden, he is like reading so many courses now, and because it's something amazing. When you are a student, you know the problems of a student. I think we all have to be students, and we need to become qualified, educationists. When I say qualified educationists, I mean to say, of course, you have to. If you're doing B.Ed, is good. If you're doing M.Ed, is good. And then if you're doing doctorate, is very good. If you're going to do M.A. in school management, it's very good. Do all that. If you're doing MSc psychotherapy and counseling, it helps for the school. Do all that. Even if you're doing law, it's going to help every bit, whatever you want to achieve in life, this is the dunya which is giving you an opportunity. I would say for all of you who want to start a school, become a student. You have to, if you've done a degree, do a master's. If you've done master's, do another master's. If you've done another master, do another master, and then do a PhD. And then if you can do something else, keep doing. And alongside, also memorize the Quran, memorize the Hadith, memorize the Qawaid, all of these things. Keep yourself as a student. You have to be a student. That is my ardent desire, because you will transform the nation. All the educationists, Muslim education, you will transform the nation when you have masters and you are going to have doctorate. You are earning that doctorate, PhD certification on your name. You're earning that. Earn it. You must yearn for it and you must earn it, inshallah ta'ala. I want to say every one of you being a PhD, inshallah ta'ala. That is the revolution. Bringing students from a school is not revolution. Bringing students amongst us is the greater revolution in my view, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah, sure. So, alhamdulillah, very, very nice discourse, very crucial points, very important points, very, points full of wisdom, points full of hikmah. Wallahi, the educators, inshallah, if you just discuss these points, realize the importance of these points, implement these points, inshallah, we are going to see good days ahead, inshallah. So, inshallah. So I would like to request the host to allow the participants to raise their hands if they have. We will take one or two questions. I would not like to trouble Umar Bhai. I am very apprehensive. I am taking much Umar Bhai's time because the points are so interesting. I cannot stop you, right? So we'll take one or two questions from the audience. Yes, the audience who have the questions. Yes, there is one brother, and if the question is appropriate related to this education topic, I will allow it. Otherwise, we have all the hosts have the right to reject the question. Yes, there is one brother here. The host, please unmute him. Brother Fauzan Majid. Yes. Can the host just unmute?
Ji, assalamu alaikum. Mr. Umar Shariff, thanks for that wonderful lecture. And I found it very interesting, a bit different from all the others. When you were saying about history, I could not control my laugh for some time that you have been so careful with that, number one. Number two, when you said about politics, again, I had to. Lastly, means those were my pleasant comments. And let's come back to the question or my suggestion. Islamic schools should devise a strategy of having elementary Islamic education and composite, the composite Islamic education. People should be given an option to choose between them. That's the number one. Then you have to really separate the secular content of that education and then invite people. Like you have already mentioned it. That you should be very clearly, there should be real demarcation lines between the secular education and a person who wants to get an elementary Islamic education and a person who wants to get the composite Islamic education. Okay, those three different streams should be there, number one. Okay, then there should be a sort of consortium of your Islamic schools which are of a particular grade, of a particular quality, and you see, and there should be a sort of understanding between that how to attract the non-Muslims and how to present your Islamic schools, or means again, I'm not using that word Islamic school, into the somebody specializing in Cambridge, somebody specializing in CBSE, somebody specializing in state. Okay, there should be something where the normal people also can be invited, but there should be a sort of pre-qualification that they should have run the school at least for 10 years. It should not become a sort of trial and error. It should be an establishment. Thank you.
Can you put your questions briefly, precisely?
It's
a suggestion that I'm asking his opinion about my suggestion.
I get the point. I get the point, gentleman. He was giving a good suggestion with regards to having a consortium and having the means to reach out to the people with some options. So these are all good suggestions. We can work on that. I would say the education is today in India, which happens to be from the Muslim community. I want to say, like initially I said, keep yourself away from the affiliations of any political party. If X party comes to power or Y party comes to power, whoever is the prime minister, we have to form a delegation, go and meet that gentleman, whoever it is, and put forward our suggestions and expect some benefits out of the government policies. We have to go on that direction. We have to shake hands with the ruling government, irrespective of X, Y, or Z. Whoever comes to power, we have to do that. We cannot go on confrontation all the time. That will not help. Even in the worst case scenario, we cannot always think of conflict. It is not the way. The direction is always towards peace. The direction is always towards treaty. The direction is always to an understanding that we need to have. So for that, we must brainstorm. A lot of educationists should come together and we must sail on the same boat, and we have to benefit from the government policies. For that, we need to have an open mind for that. I think that should come in the coming days, sometime in the coming years. We should work on that.
Inshallah. So, inshallah, we are hopeful for an educational conference in the future. Inshallah. Umar bhai,
Yep.
We all educators, inshallah, will just plan something.
Sure.
So, the next question from another brother or sister. If there is any sister who wants to ask the question, she can just unmute herself. All the other participants, mute yourself. If there is another sister asking any question, she can unmute herself and she can ask the question. Otherwise, we have the brother here. Yes.
So,
yes, go ahead. You can ask the question. You can unmute yourself, please, and ask.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Umar bhai, this is Rafiq from Madurai.
Yes,
Jannah Public School, Madurai.
I could identify your voice. Yes, brother.
Yeah,
How are you?
how are you, brother? Alhamdulillah, fine,
Yeah, yeah,
brother.
yeah. I'm doing well.
Yeah, just
I'm
I
doing
think
well.
last month you had been to Madurai. We had a discussion about the school, all
Yeah,
principals and correspondence. And
I
I would like
remember.
to ask the same question what I asked you.
Yeah,
Actually, we started as a Islamic school. Like we are actually we came to meet you, and we have good ideas to start our school family. We have started as a Islamic school like Jannah Public, Al Jannah International School. Now
right.
after 10 years, now we are going like Jannah Public School. We got a CBSE also.
Mashallah,
Because
mashallah.
but we would like to admit non-Muslim students also. They
Yeah,
are also coming and some point of time because we are concentrating more on Islamic perspective. Automatically
right.
they will exit the school.
Mm,
Maybe pre-KG, LKG up to second standard they will be with us. Then they will expel from the school.
mm, mm,
Thinking that it is something like Islamic oriented school. How to because
mm.
we would like to admit always non-Muslim students also. So
Okay,
what
okay.
could be our concept to deal with that?
Yes, yes. Rafiq Bhai, as you have put forward your needs and your demands. See what that's what I said. Everything should go based on customization, and one practice cannot be the practice for the entire nation. So if somebody is having it as a madrasa based system, as a total Islamic ambience there, and if it works for him, well and good, do it that way. But if you think that you want to accommodate a lot of non-Muslim children, and at the same time you don't want to dilute your educational system for the Muslim children, then you need to plan in such a way. You must teach the Muslim children all the Islamic disciplines through the moral education classes. You must have it in such a way, and whatever you can keep it generic. So in that way you will be able to cater to a lot of people, and even that is considered as sawab. Even that is sawab jariya. If you are teaching English to a non-Muslim child, and if the child learns English, that is also sawab for us. We get reward for that, inshallah ta'ala. So Allah is the most merciful. He is there to give us a lot of sawab. So why not gain more of sawab? And one more thing is that when these children they pass out from our schools, inshallah ta'ala, they would have had a lot of good, memorable incidents, memorable life which they have passed through all these years of 10 years or 13 years in our schools. And then when they become doctors, engineers, and when they become collectors and tahsildars, then they will have the affinity for the Muslim community because the Muslim community has nurtured them. So this is the impact of actually doing humanitarian work. So even if you're keeping it as a humanitarian work, the work for humanity's needs, inshallah ta'ala, Allah would give us many things in return, inshallah ta'ala. And in the long run, inshallah ta'ala, the ummah would benefit in the long run, inshallah ta'ala. So I would help you, inshallah ta'ala, if at all you want to have a specific discussion on this, just to cater the policies according to the demand of your local area, inshallah. We can sit, we can chat, and we can formulate a certain policy for your needs, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair.
One last
Hayakallah.
question, inshallah. One last question. There is a question chat. So can anybody, is anybody ready to ask question now? Any sister wishes to ask any question? Achha, there is one question on chat that does Al-Basheer School provide similar facilities or flexibility, or do students have to fully engage in both academic and Deeniyah studies simultaneously? Okay, this is a question on chat.
Yeah. They have to engage on both Islamic education as well as the worldly academic education, both equally. And of course, we monitor them, we help them, we encourage them, and again we ensure that they're not over pressurized. So everything is designed in such a way that they're not over pressurized. Especially when it comes to Islamic education, we don't want to over pressurize them because it should not become a burden. See, they should learn it with love. They should learn with comfort. I want to give one information as to what Dr. Bilal Phillips he said once. It's a very well-known thing that he said in one of the prisons in the West, when they went and they saw a lot of huffaz, Hafizul Quran. A lot of huffaz being there in the prison really bothered. Why is that these people have entered into this kind of a place? So they memorized the Quran, but that was done based on the pressure. They don't totally involved themselves. They did not do things for the sake of Allah in the sense that out of love and pleasure. They did it because something was imposed upon them. So don't impose anything, because at the end of the day, you don't get what you want to. You don't get what the end target is. So we must be very careful in dealing with the children's mindset, their psychology. We must make them love Islam. That is very important. They must not hate Islamic education just because it is pressurizing them to do certain things. That should not happen. We must do it in such a way that even if they learn few aspects of the deen, let them love Islam. That should be the primary motive behind catering the Islamic knowledge. So there shouldn't be any pressure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, one last question from Sister Shagufta Sheikh. Sister Shagufta Sheikh is there. Maybe one or two now final questions, inshallah. Sister Shagufta Sheikh. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Umar bhai, this is from Cocoon School, Shimoga.
Yes, sister. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, brother. Alhamdulillah.
Nice to hear you all. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallah. Here my question is again, usually we have lot of challenges as an Islamic school. We have lot of challenges in the matter of finance. So as we all have seen, the fees are not being collected as much. The expenses are there for the school. So what additional income for the school, or how to tackle these finance problems in the perception of Islam?
Yeah, this is a very important question. A lot of people, especially from the Muslim community, they have money for the weekends. They don't mind spending a couple of thousands on a weekend. They don't mind spending lakhs of money for a walima for their house weddings. But when it comes to fees, they become very stingy. They become very careful. They think that it is a major expense that they are dealing with, So therefore, like the mindset, Allah has kept us. If you see, I've lived with a lot of communities. I've lived with a lot of Brahmins. In their homes, they will have curds and they will have pickle and roti, chapati. They don't even have non-veg, They have very simple food, but they will be giving their children best of education. They will make their children get through real good convents, get through real good institutions, and fly abroad. And even if they are not here to take care of them in their old age, they have no problem, but they ensure that their children get the best education and best life. So everything is connected with that perspective, that culture, the mindset of the masses. And today, the Muslim masses, their priorities are misplaced. Our priorities are totally misplaced, and which most of the education will agree with me. Based on your passion, you have started schools, but after starting the schools, you would have had your experiences as to how you are dealt with, how you are humiliated at times, and how you are misunderstood, how you are played with. All these things goes through a lot of, experiences, which I know because I've been discussing with a lot of people. So therefore I say, take it from me, just running schools for the Muslims will not work in many places. If you're going to cater education just for the Muslim children, then you will not be able to run your institutions if you do not get the right kind of parents. It all depends upon your demography. So you have to customize it according to the needs. So if you are having a very good school where non-Muslim children can come and they can admit their children, then what is the problem? You don't have to dilute your education. You don't have to dilute your mannerisms and ethos. While you are making certain adjustments, you will be able to keep all customers happy, inshallah ta'ala. And thereby your institution will be able to get the required nourishment in the form of vitamin M. Vitamin M, without money, you cannot run institutions. Let's be very clear about it. We are running institutions. We're not doing any charitable work here. When I say charitable, it means pure charitable. It doesn't go that way. We're not giving everything free, isn't it? So you have to make certain adjustments, make certain customized changes so that you bring in money through fees. It has to be through fees. There's no other way. How is that we are going to looking for another way of income through running schools? We can't do that. All that will be wastage of time. I think let's be very pragmatic. Inshallah, in the coming days, we'll have to customize a lot of schools according to the needs. Therefore, you are able to keep all the customers happy. Inshallah.
The time is up now, and Alhamdulillah, there are many more questions, but inshallah, some other time. And the participants can put their questions in other forms, inshallah. I will forward the participant questions to Umar Bhai in the future, inshallah.
Yep.
And inshallah, we'll hope to get the answers. So here, thanking Umar Bhai.
I am privileged. I'm honored. Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Obed, for having me for this event. Alhamdulillah, it is my honor and pleasure to be amidst you all. And anytime for education, anybody has any program or anything, I feel very happy that somebody is talking sense, because this is the thing which will bring about real change in this country, inshallah.
And one last thing, that the educational conference to address the problems of the educators, especially Muslim educators, in the near future, inshallah, we can plan, we can think of planning, inshallah. Okay?
Yep.
One Muslim educational conference, inshallah. Okay, so yes, take leave, all of you. Washiru dawana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.